Hello, everyone. It's the Leaders World brought to you by Leaders World Institute, and you are here with two of our great guests. And they are no strangers to us. You want to discover who they are? Please let your friends know we are on.
For your corporate and personal needs.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives, one leader at a time.
And yes, it's the Leaders World brought to you by Leaders World Institute. It is your space, it's your corner where we bring leadership insights, top leadership insights that will take your life, your family, your business to the next level. Today we have with us Coach Maggie. She is the owner and CEO of MJ's Coaching and Business Solutions, LLC. She has worked as general manager for a very well-known Fortune 500 company for a number of years, and she led a team of well over 100 employees in a more than $45 million store. Maggie excelled in her role and delivered high quality productivity and maintained retention and employee growth, which resulted in excellent quality customer service and outstanding financial results for many years. Her passion in helping leaders and their teams discover and lead with their strengths by offering advanced strategies to achieve high levels of performance is unmatched. Maggie knows the challenges and importance of developing independent, high-performing leaders to function well under pressure, collaborate, and communicate effectively as a team, create and maintain a positive work atmosphere to dramatically increase desired results and profitability. She is a licensed and certified facilitator, coach, team trainer, speaker with the John Maxwell leadership team. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me. Welcome Coach Maggie Jean with us.
Thank you, Susan Echu. I'm very happy to be here and excited to meet with your virtual audience. Thank you.
Yes. We are so excited to have you, and your leadership experience and wisdom is we are just excited every time you come on the show, and we are so happy you said yes to our invitation on this show this time around. Thank you so much. We truly do appreciate you. Thank you so much. With us as well is Ma'am Sharon Singh, who is the head of e-learning and innovation at St. John's Anglican College in Australia. She's an highly experienced international educator and leader in IT and computer sciences for more than 20 years. She has worked in Fiji, Hong Kong, New Zealand, South Korea, and also in Australia. She has experience as Senior Product Officer of Education, QLD, a head of school examiner for the International Baccalaureate organization. Oh my goodness, so much achievements by Ma'am Sharon Singh. She proactively provides thought leadership in education and also in technology and computer science for educators globally. Ma'am Sharon Singh is a recipient of the 2021 Peter Doherty Excellence in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, that's STEM, Education Award. Okay, she also received the amongst many, she also received the 2019 ACS Gold Disruptor Award for ICT Educator of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you want to meet her. Join me. Welcome, please, Ma'am Sharon Singh. You're welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Susan. Oh my goodness, it is such a pleasure to be here with you and Coach Maggie, and also to speak to the audience as well. It's just a joy for me to share, I think, some of the amazing experiences that I've had working around the world. So I'm looking forward to this session. Thank you for inviting me again.
You are so welcome. It is our honor and our privilege to have you, Coach Maggie, to have you, Coach Ma'am Sharon Singh. Today we are talking leading the way, coaching teams, cultivating leaders, education, It's a whole combo. It's a whole combo. All of that mixed together, leading the way, coaching teams, cultivating leaders, education, and artificial intelligence. When you read this topic from our invitation, Coach Maggie, what were your thoughts?
Oh, Susan, my thoughts, really, you want me to express my thoughts?
Yes,
I,
please
I,
do.
I said, oh my God, I can't do that. I think we got to get some professor from some esteemed university like Harvard or some place like that. I'm like, where did she get those beautiful questions? How articulate. Oh my goodness. John Maxwell has this book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And that's a reflection on you, Susan. And I admire you and, the influence and the impact you're having with your many podcasts. So it's a pleasure. And I'm humbled that you asked me to be in a program with Miss Susan Singh today. Thank you so very much. But great questions.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Coach Maggie. Leading the way. You are a coach, you are a leader, you are a mentor. What are some of the key qualities of successful leadership, if I should start from there?
Mm,
Yes.
really very lovely question. Thank you, Susan. And as I've been on this journey for a long time, and again, leadership does not mean that you must have a title to be a leader. And
Mhm.
since I've been on that journey for a very long time, I believe that a leader would have diverse qualities that, first of all, is inspirational,
Mhm.
motivational, qualities that will guide and empower the people they're leading so that they can achieve shared goals, what they want to achieve personally and what the business want to achieve. I do believe that a leader must be able to communicate effectively.
Mm.
And with communication, being that listening is a huge part of communication, that leader, of course, must listen intently because through listening, you will know how to really respond, perhaps with empathy. And that these are some of the soft skills that are lacking in leadership.
Mm.
A really good leader would encourage honesty, integrity, so that you can create an environment of trust. A good leader is a visionary, and I know how much you like to talk about the visionary leader, Susan. All right, because when you have a very good visionary leader, that sets a compelling direction. There is so much that a good leader will bring to the table, but ultimately all of that comes in to set the pace, to develop people who are going to build that culture that you want for your organization, your company, your
Mm.
organization, or whatever
Mm.
it could be. It could be a church, it could be just your community. Remember, you do not need a title to be a leader.
Mm, mm. Wow, thank you so much for starting off our conversation with all these insights. I could hear communication, I could hear shared goals, I could hear listening, I could hear empathy, I could hear honesty, I could hear integrity, I could hear trust, I could hear developing teams. Coming to you, Ma'am Sharon, when you read this topic, when I sent out the invitation, leading the way, coaching teams, cultivating leaders, education, artificial intelligence, what were your thoughts?
I was very excited, Susan. It's an area I think that I have been experiencing for a while now, and like Coach Maggie, very aptly said, it's you don't have to have a title. We are
Mm,
leaders as in our workplace, but we also lead. I think it stems from our homes. For me, as a mother, as a wife, especially as a mother, I'm a leader through and through. The day you become a mother, you are that leader. You become that leader. So I think just looking at that topic, brilliant topic. You've got so many aspects in that title. And the bit that really, I think, as an educator in IT, computer science, that really fascinates me and is something that I have been, speaking about in many forums, is on artificial intelligence. I think especially as Christian leaders, it's important for us to lead in that way as well. So I think artificial intelligence was a huge attraction for me, especially in the area of education and impacting the minds of our educators and also impacting the minds of the young people that we have, in our care as we educate them.
Leadership, coaching teams, training, developing people, artificial intelligence. Coach Maggie, I was having a conversation somewhere, and someone said this AI thing. I think it's just some demonic. Okay, I did not laugh when this person said that because I was being respectful, but. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who had a little chuckle, even if it was in my heart when that person and I was like, how do I get to start explaining to this person that no, it's not demons, it's not devils? Coach Maggie, have you ever encountered those type of thoughts when it comes to this AI thing? I know you use it in your business as well. We've had conversations about that. Do you want to share with us your experiences or your thoughts?
Absolutely, Susan. Thank you for another great question. And I personally never had these thoughts. But here's what I want to share with you, Susan. I'm not at all surprised that this lady shared her thoughts with you, as so many has shared with me. And as I remember when the internet was being born, or when the internet was coming in, just like AI, and there were so many stories going around and so many different beliefs, and a whole swath of people were left behind simply because they have no intention of going near this thing they call the internet, because this is the devil in its greatest form, and this is not going to last, and this is only going to be used by the post office, and this is what, and this is what. And a whole swath of people who were supposedly very brilliant, very sharp, but they let time pass them. And they did not embrace the new way of learning and the new way of doing business. And now some of them, they can't use the internet. With all the brilliance they left behind, they may sometimes have to pay someone to do a little something with them, because no longer we don't write letters anymore. You send an email will take a minute, and that's it, And hence the reason why, Susan, I got so attracted to AI. I wanted to connect with matured women like myself. I wanted women who look like me, the color that I am, the age that I am, to embrace this thing, because it is not changing, and it is growing faster than we ever thought it would. There is so much that you can do. And of course, like the internet, everything is good and bad. What do you want? Do you want to use it for your good, or you want to use it for something that you know is going to have an adverse result? I am not the most qualified to talk about AI, but
Right.
I have embraced it. I am using it in what I do. I am making sure that the emotional aspect of AI is there, and that's me. I am making sure it represents me. Whatever AI does or say, I will go back and say, well, no, this word doesn't look like me. I don't speak like that. And I'll get it fixed. But I will tell you, Susan, I really got to learn it, love it, and embrace it so that I could show those who look like me whether it's the same age, whether it's the color, whether it's work-wise, I can tell them that there might be some harm. I'm sure there is harm, but what I'm doing is not going to be harmful to you, and I can probably show you how to use it so you can have some success. But this
Wow.
is why I'm really embracing AI, and it has been good for me, Susan. It has
Mm,
changed my business a whole lot. I cannot
mm.
speak to it as eloquently as the people who are certified and who have all the knowledge, but I have some knowledge, and I am not going to be left behind. I'm not
Mm.
going to believe that it is a demon who's ready to grab me, but I am going to use it. So thank you for asking that question.
Wow, Coach Maggie, thank you for sharing your experiences as an end user of the AI technology in your coaching business. We'll be coming back to ask you more about how that's working for you. Why? Because we want to bring this knowledge out there, these insights out there. So some of our friends will think, oh, this thing is not for me, may have different thoughts about maybe the usefulness of this. Ma'am Sharon think you're not a stranger to disruptions. You're not a stranger to disruptions. How is this disrupting the academic environment, the educational landscape that you are a leader in?
Well, it's an area that is leading on from what Coach Maggie said and what you shared about the perception that people have. And I think it's that fear of not knowing. When you don't know something, our natural instinct is such. If not only this fear, but also when you are working with the people, and as we work, coach and lead and mentor, and with people, and work with people, you build relationships. And as actions happen, our focus, our first reaction is always a negative. I don't know if you realize that when you're dealing with children, something happens, we quickly start suspecting them. Like there's a you have to, I think I've mastered that art of not suspecting them. It takes a long time to
Coach,
look at the
Coach, you need to come back and teach me how to master the art of not suspecting
yes,
children.
you have to you have to really work at it. But it's that natural instinct in us. We always look at the negative aspects, I think, and therefore anything that comes up, we jump into that wagon rather than the one where it's going to be beneficial. Any technology that comes in, and you aptly mentioned, Maggie, was about the internet, for instance. It's just another tool. Artificial intelligence is another tool. When we look at generative AI, for instance, like now people are using ChatGPT, these are all tools. Like any tool that is introduced, you need to learn to use it. And so initially there is a fear, a fear of using anything. And when you don't know, you kind of stay away from it until you know. And people are so time poor, they don't know. And some people think that they cannot be educated in it. So I think these perceptions really guide the thoughts that people have about the use of AI, I think. So yes, there are things that we are doing in education. It needs to come. It used to be at university level or tertiary level. It now needs to come back into our schools. We need to start really embedding programs in our schools that are educating the teachers, and because our teachers also don't want to do it, don't want to use it, don't want to, they're not picking the positive tool that it is, and using it that which they can, and harness the potential of it in their classrooms, only because they do not know, and so they fear it. And so our children are lacking. So we need to bring it down to the schools, because the kids are using going to the one aspect, which is the generative AI, kids are already using ChatGPT to do their assessments and all. They're doing it,
Exactly.
they're using it in their classrooms. So teachers we don't need to be 100 steps ahead. We just need to be one step ahead of them. Like we need to know what they're doing and using. So that is the disruption that I'm doing in my college, is ensuring that my staff are, we have a strategy that I have put in place, that I'm trialing in my class, that will go across, and hopefully we can take it nationwide and also globally.
Wow. I,
Wow.
I I
Wow.
just want to commend what
Please do.
Ma'am Sharon Singh said there with regards to the teachers, some teachers not wanting to embrace it.
Yes,
Listen, we've got to be as curious as the kids, because the
absolutely.
curiosity is driving them to learn this thing and move forward with it. If you're not embracing it, how are you going to tell, well, what they're doing, whether it's is acceptable or whether it's a little indifferent, if you understand what I mean.
Mm.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're teaching me lots of things, ma'am Sharon Singh. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Coach Maggie, you just said something about curiosity, and you are a coach and a team trainer, and that's part of I'm sure, what you do, teaching leaders about
Mm-hmm.
what it is to be curious and how that affects our leadership. And I'm just thinking, is coaching different in this digital age than what it was using traditional approaches? Is there any difference? What would be your take on that?
For me, Susan, I think the difference is really you getting to do things a lot faster. Let's
Oh,
say you're a coach,
mm,
whether you're brand new or whether you've been there for a long time and you need to create some content.
mm-hmm,
When you were thinking of creating content maybe about just a year ago, someone who's very, someone I know on this platform, like Susan Etchu, want to make sure everything comes out, oh, A+, all right? You will take probably a good 3 or 4 hours writing just, just a bit of content.
mm,
Now that is so much easier.
mm,
As a coach, I mean, the digital age should be exhilarating now. They don't have to
mm,
go through all what that we did. But I would say, be mindful. If you're a brand new coach or a brand new team trainer,
mm-hmm,
marry the old and the new, because you have to get some experience. All right. And the old is not really old, because now you're just taking some of the old and applying it to what you know,
mm-hmm,
given the fact that you have AI, all right? Gain experience, learn some things that from the old that will mean a lot to you, that is foundational, that never changes, but you can make it even better by now putting good prompts in, chat GPT, and
Mhm.
get something new and relevant to this time.
mm-hmm,
But I will say, the old has its place and it is foundational. And I do believe that if you're a brand new coach or team trainer, a word from the wise, don't turn your nose up at what is old, because you can grow a lot from what someone has done before, and now you're marrying the two, and you can
mm-hmm.
bring it out even further. But they're lucky. They are lucky right now that there's so much they can do by just not even using every aspect of AI, but just go and put some prompts in there. All right, just put some prompts in there, and they'll be doing tremendously well. I'm telling you. But those are the people, again, Susan, they must be consistent, they
Yes.
must be intentional. They must be serious with what they're doing. They're not going to just sit there and depend totally on AI. Oh, AI has got my answer. AI, I need your help on this, and just not do anything with it. No, you really have to expand your brains, because there are also barriers to AI. And I'd like them to know that too. And when I say barriers, because I just saw your face, I just saw your face. Of course, AI covers the whole internet to find answers. And of course, when you do that, you get whatever you get is based on and Susan, correct? Sorry, Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong. All right, you scout
Absolutely.
AI scouts the internet, and it takes answers that based on algorithms. All right, and it shoots out whatever it does for you. Now, of course, you have to know, does that pertain to one group of people, or there's bias in a lot of the things that we get from AI. And if you're not paying attention as a young coach or a young team trainer, of course that can be a downfall. So I'm telling you, pay attention to what you're doing. There are barriers, there are things that you have to pay attention to, but it is a new world for new coaches, old coach. I'm not old, but for seasoned coaches, and for new team managers, and for new team trainers, and for seasoned team trainers. Pay attention.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pay attention. Coach Maggie, I was thinking when you said pay attention to the old, like there is this old stuff
Value.
that you shouldn't throw away. I was like, what are examples of these old things that when we are merging AI and a generative technology into our business, what are those foundational things that must still be there? What
So
must we still have in place? Because it's not like AI is going to deliver us, like come deliver me and just be the do all be all for us. So what are those things that we must still always have in place? Because like you said, AI just comes to make it faster and better, and you have to master the prompts and know how to give those prompts, because it's what you give there that brings out what it brings out for you, because it's a large database. It's a large database with information from all over the world. So what are those vitals that we must never forget that you were mentioning?
thank you so much for asking that question, Susan. And oh my God, I'm sorry.
Everything good?
One of my posters that was hanging on the wall just fell.
Okay, we heard the
I
sound.
so
All
I
right,
apologize, and
it,
to our viewers, I apologize. So
it's
here's what
good.
I'm going. I would like to share with you, and I'm not being selfish, but I want them to remember that training is very important when you are a coach and a team trainer. Continuous training. Now, with
Okay.
the advent of AI, you have everything you need, everything you
Mhm,
want,
mhm,
and you put whatever in the prompt, and you can go out there and just say things and do things, and you may not be wrong,
mhm,
but then you don't have the foundation. Remember, mentorship is timeless.
mhm,
You need that person, maybe someone who has been doing that as a career for a
mhm.
long time. That person can provide you mentorship.
Okay.
Are you certified? Because everybody, I don't know if it's because they love being called a coach, but everybody's a coach now. Remember, there are some people that can get better with a
Okay.
certification program.
All right.
So when I talk about holding on to what is foundational, that's what I am alluding to, because that is very, very important. If you want to last long in this industry,
Mhm.
hold on to what is foundational. It's
Okay.
important because after AI keeps growing, and if you don't hold on to the foundation of AI, then you're going to get lost. If you understand what I
Mhm.
mean.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing. Keep building yourself. Keep developing yourself. Being consistent in what you are doing. Keep adding to yourself, bringing value to you, and have those mentors out there, because AI has its place, but those foundational elements have their place as well. I'm
Yeah.
coming back to you, ma'am Sharon. You mentioned about these students, how students are using AI, and how you're encouraging the teachers. You're actually training teachers to know how to use this so that we teachers can be at least one step ahead of the students. I'm like, how easy is this for us to be one step ahead of these students. And do you actually encourage students to use AI to do assignments?
Yes.
Sharon.
Thank you. That's a brilliant avenue to get into. It's the hot topic at the moment. In the big at the beginning of the year here, I'm just bringing you the Australian scenario. What happened in the education system was it just came bang on. Last November is when generative AI hit. ChatGPT was the big thing, and talk was going on. So in my role as head of e-learning and innovation for my college, I put a strategy in place to educate our leadership. I think you need to start from the top.
Okay.
If you don't, you will hit so many barriers. This is just in the education area. This is what I did. So I'll share my experience.
Right.
I think, educating, sending them information, letting them know this is it, this is what's happening, this is what the kids are going to do, what are we going to do? So that is when I designed a strategy that I thought would be beneficial. And the best way to do that, as you know, Susan, and as you know, Coach Maggie, is by modeling it. I mean, modeling is a huge part of leadership, as you know. So I think what I did was I put a strategy in place. I came up with something that I thought would work, and which I could then model, in our country, and then taking it globally as well. And so what we did was schools around our I don't know what you call them in the different countries you come from, but in here, in Australia, we have the state system, state schools, and then we also have the independent or the private schools. So that's the two main areas that we have. So the state,
I think it's the same. They just call
same,
them,
right? Yeah.
same.
I think some call it national schools, some state schools, some different jargon when you go at different places. So in the state system, let's say for the place I come from in Queensland, all state schools were banned from using ChatGPT.
Oh.
Independent schools have their own authority, to do things. So some schools banned it, and others, majority banned it. We didn't. We let our students use it. We, as you said, disruptor. We are disruptors big time. But I think in order to allow this to be used, because there are many factors that impact the use of AI. So in order to allow it, our first steps is to actually educate our educators. So that's what I did. So I put a strategy in place. I designed a 1 hour, our lessons in school are 1 hour long. So I designed a 1 hour lesson for every teacher, because you needed to educate everybody, not just 2 or 3 teachers. You need to do the whole lot. So my role as, for the whole college, I designed a lesson, 1 hour, and that was to enable the teachers to do that particular lesson for 1 hour across the whole college. So in any of their subjects, if they did an hour of it, and that was purely on ChatGPT. So what that included was, first of all, you start off with biases and limitations and ethics. I'm glad you mentioned the biases, Coach Maggie, because that's huge. Chatbots, there are huge biases that these AI technology has. So we looked at. We didn't even go into generative AI. So we start off with educating children and teaching them how to pick up biases in responses by these generative AI tools.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. So you look at biases, you look at limitations, and you look at ethics. Is it right to do? Is it not right to do? So just bringing this higher order thinking skills and really touching on this with the students. So first aspect was going in that. Then I got them into groups. Remember, this is one class, and then I model it right throughout. So I got them into groups, and I asked them to pick a bias. And then I got them to research on it, look at examples of what's happening, how, where, and what. And so I'll mention some of the biases, like, for instance, limited training data. Coach Maggie, you mentioned that it is machine learning. So what the bot does, it collects data from all over the world on the web, somebody must have asked a question. So it's a question that has been asked. So the responses of that from all over the world is collected, and then it's thrown out. That's what the bot does. So So, and the bot is trained. So it's trained by somebody, and that somebody could have a bias. So it could be a gender bias. It could be a economic bias. It could be any type of bias. And therefore, we need to teach our children this. So, so limited bias. So bias data was another one. Lack of contextual understanding. Over reliance on keywords, just putting some keywords and just relying on that. The inability for the bot to handle rare events. The lack of emotional intelligence. They don't know whether you're crying or laughing or, they have no, emotions. They're machines, for goodness sake. It's a program, right? And then you have a lack of transparency. So there are a lot of biases and limitations that children need to see. So that's the first thing I did, was to take that to the kids. Then I designed a thing where I showed them how machine learning happens. And then I made it specifically for the teachers as well. Then I asked the students in class to generate 3 questions that they needed answers for. And I gave them some examples of the questions that I would ask a bot. So we did 3 questions in their groups. They came up with 3 questions. You cannot use ChatGPT as a class because of IP, in the school. So what I did was I got them to generate 3 questions. And this is beautiful because many of the students, at the lower ones, at lower level ones, year level ones, they get help from their parents when they're doing assessments and, assignments and research. So I thought, okay, let's do this. Let them take this question home, get them, and age is another thing we have to be very mindful of, because not all students should be having access to these because of privacy concerns. They're underage, yet they are using it. So I thought, okay, let's get the parents involved. So you're educating the parents as well. So take the questions home, sit with your parents, get them to log into ChatGPT, put the questions in, get the answers, copy, paste it into their OneNote, bring it back to school, and we'll discuss on the table. So that's what they did. So they went home. It was very exciting. They went home, brought the questions back. Then we discussed the answers. So in groups, they discussed the answers. It was so fascinating to see what these kids are not dumb. They're very, very bright and smart. They came up with these responses and said, oh, this is wrong. This is incorrect. Oh, they're just talking about this particular age group. I wanted answers for 17-year-olds. This is like they're answering for a 60-year-old. And, like those kinds of things. They can pick up these things. So this is the bias. These are the limits. So there's lack of human judgment. I asked them this question and this is the answer they gave me. They don't know what the answer is because the bot will tell you, I'm sorry, but I cannot, it'll give you the answer like that when it can't. So it gives them that, so they bring it back. We looked at it and then I also scared them a little bit. And I said, hey, if you use a generative AI, ChatGPT, for instance, it doesn't know everything. It doesn't have all the answers. The other bit also is it's the data is limited. If they're using ChatGPT, they would have data that would be maybe 3 months ago, updated up till 3 months ago.
Right.
Say, right? Yeah. And like in the last 3 months, anything that's happened, that new thing is not updated. And therefore, they're getting data, which was, I'm just giving an example, 3 months.
Yes.
Yes. But it's not, and the data is limited. It doesn't have all the data. So, and I said to the kids, if you are aiming for an A, right? Guess what? If you just pick answers from ChatGPT, put it into your assessments, you get the highest you can get is a C. They said, we're not using it. These are senior kids in school, and they really
sometimes the data is as old as 2 years ago. Yeah,
you know what I mean, right?
Yes,
so
yes,
that's the kind of thing. So that's what I brought it back to school, and then we discussed the answers. Now I get emails from students, and they'll say they'll be doing an assignment in some subject. They'll send me the thing and say, Miss, look at this. This is so incorrect. And I said, see, I told you. But they can pick it. My job is done. I've already shown them how to pick these nuances, pick these inconsistencies, incorrect answers through the generative AI tools.
I
So
am curious, ma'am Sharon. So how is that help? Is that helping learning? Is that helping instruction in any way in your school? What's the experience? Has it been
yes.
positive, or how has it been?
Yes, it is. It is actually quite positive. We have put a system in place where teachers are told to look at, to be very mindful, be very, be very careful when they're looking at assessments. Because
Yes.
of this, because of these steps we have taken, we're educating. We've taken an educative response rather than a ban everything response. So our
Right.
students are allowed to use it. So I've come up with a table, and in the table, I'm just going to pull it up for my own benefit so that I can actually pick up and just let you know what it is. So in the assessments, what I am doing in my classes is, if I give an assessment, so assessments are of different types. So you would have, you'd have an essay to write, for instance. You may have a report to put together. You may have a project to submit, and then you have an exam to do. Like all sorts of things. So there are 3 scenarios: no AI tools to be allowed, limited AI tools to be used, and AI tools to be used. So 3 different scenarios. However, in the first one, in the no AI tools, as soon as we give the assessment sheet, we've got a icon there, no AI tools. So if they're doing an exam, on the exam cover sheet, it'll say no AI tools. So they know straight away, oh, this one we can't use AI. The second one is limited AI tool. In the assessment, it'll say, so it may be a research that they're doing. So they can use AI to do the research, kick off the thing, but students use the tools for feedback and ideas, but the work submitted must be theirs and sources must be cited accurately. And we have AI detection tools, for instance, Turnitin to detect, right, whether, the amount of accuracy, any plagiarism, and so forth. So, but they do know that they are able to use it to kick off their research and stuff. Then you have AI tools used. Students may use the tools. Sources must be cited accurately. And there, it is also, the content is also can be generated by AI as well. So they have the freedom. So they are not running away anymore. They're not scared. We're not putting, ban. We are actually allowing them and giving them guidelines for them to use. It has made teachers' lives so easy. Now we don't have that many cases of students willy-nilly just using AI for their responses. Does it make sense? Like it's like,
It makes a lot of sense. Coach Maggie was about to say something.
I'm glad that. Thank you, Susan. But I'm glad they created that environment for them in the school, because they will do otherwise on their own at home.
Right.
I have to share one example. I was.
Please do.
I said some work for this. It was I had to go urgently to see my dad, who is not well. He lives in New Zealand. So I went to see him, and I left work, as you do, educators. You leave work, school, and you leave work for other teachers to look after your class. So I thought, okay, this is an easy one. The exam the kids can do while I'm away, and a teacher will supervise. It doesn't matter who supervises. They have an exam condition. So I put them an online exam. They were supposed to go into our portal and do the test. So I deliberately tested these students by allowing multiple, like do the one answer, and they could come back and look at it and do the answer again. I was just testing what was going on, right? So I'm flying back. And I get this email. I'm in my seat in the plane, and I get this email from this student. And I just couldn't believe it. I should read that out to you. What they said was just brilliant. They said, Miss, I've completed the test. I did it twice. And I thought, okay, he is the one. He's the one fish that bit the bait. So he says, I did it twice. The others would have been so scared they just did it once, that's over. This guy did it twice. And he said like this. And he says to me, he writes in that email, just imagine, morning, I'm flying back. I get this email. He's just done the test. And he says, I did the test. And then the teacher was supervising, didn't say anything, and I went in and did the test again, and I used ChatGPT.
Okay.
I did the test, I got this mark. I did use ChatGPT, I got this mark. So which one will be marked? I think he got 16 out of 20 in the first one and 19 out of 20 in the one with ChatGPT. So he said, which mark will you consider? For me, the successful part was that this child was confident enough and trusted me to share that this is what he did. For me, that this is more valuable than him going and using ChatGPT. He was honest enough to
Without
tell
your
me
knowledge, right,
that
right. Wow, this is so, so awesomely brilliant how we can empower our children, even in schools, just by giving them the guidelines and telling them this is it, this is it, this is it, and this is how you go, and these are the consequences, and these are the biases, and these are some of the drawbacks, and all of that. While you were talking and while Coach Maggie was talking, there was a lot that came out about the lack of emotional intelligence in the AI. So I remember Coach Maggie mentioned something like that about the biases and how you need to own it. And Coach Maggie, I'm coming back to that. As a coach, how can you ensure that that human touch comes out when dealing with your clients and the teams that you work with? Even when you incorporate AI, of course, because that's what we are talking about.
Beautiful question, Susan, and I appreciate you asking me that question. And here's what I do with my business. I don't really use AI when I'm coaching clients. But what I have done about 3 months ago, I asked AI for some help in building. I just wanted it to build an outline for me to develop my group coaching program.
Okay.
However, for my team training programs, if I'm doing something totally new, I will ask it to build an outline, and then I'll tell it, build me a workshop.
Okay.
Then when I get the results, I go in there, and I'm just grateful that you've given me some help, because I'm now going to go in there and I'm going to change what I need. I'm going to change this and make this my own. Put the emotion, because this is a machine who went gathering all kinds of information from all over the world, everywhere. Everything has somebody has said. It just, take this. Okay, let me just give this to her. And it's good. And I tell it thanks. Seriously, I do.
So you go back and type thanks.
Thank you. And it responds to you very nicely. Oh yeah.
Okay, AI.
Yeah, it
Okay.
responds to
Are you
you.
about to take over the world, AI human?
Yeah, it tells you, thank you for thinking that I have helped you very well. If you need anything else, please come back. I can help.
Wow.
So yeah, I would go in and ask who it is or whatever it is to do this and that, and then I'd go back. And here's where the EI comes in.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is where the EI comes in. I make it my own. I put the feel in. All right. I change words, because that word you just tell me that doesn't sound like me. I don't speak that word. So I'm going to change it. And I also think, Susan, of who is going to be in front of me. Which team is that I am leading now, especially if it's people that I've served in the past before. If I've built a relationship, if it's brand new people, I still want to bring my best to them. But now I'm learning who they are, just like AI will learn who it's working with on a daily basis. I'm learning my clients. But if I know you, I know how you have received me. I know what you like. And so I change everything and I put my heart and soul into it. And that's the EI I add to my AI.
So what you're saying is work that could have taken us maybe 5 hours, you're able
Yeah.
to do like in how many hours, minutes?
Yes. Yes. Well, not minutes. If you're the kind of individual, no, I know you are the kind of individual who want to bring excellence every time. And I'm sure it's the same thing for Ma'am Sharon Singh. We want excellence at every level. So it will not take us 1 minute, 2 minutes. Maybe it's going to take us half an hour. Because now you have everything already. Everything is done for you. You just add in your EI. I don't like this sentence. No, this is not what I really wanted to say. I want to say that instead, but half of it is already done for you. So now you go in, and you do what you have to do. You clean it up some, And I'll tell you what,
So it's
Susie?
like giving us a competitive edge, an advantage. In Coach Maggie, tell us about that more. This is so
Yeah,
interesting. This is fascinating. This
it
is
is giving us a
fascinating.
competitive edge, but if you do some work,
Okay.
if you do some work, that's
You
how
should
I
know
look at
what
it.
you're looking for.
You've got to know what you want to do, because if you just plain dependent on AI, no, 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 that's not going to work. That's
Okay.
not going to work. You've got
Mm,
to put yourself in this. It
mm,
doesn't know you. It's just it has just picked up things, but it
mm.
gives you something really good. Really,
Yeah.
it's really good. But you
Wow.
got to make it your own, Susan. And let me
Mhm.
tell you something, Susan. You cannot run away from AI. I'm not sure if you've seen the new updates on WhatsApp. WhatsApp has, included AI on the platform.
Oh, it did.
You have a bot on there, yeah. Whether it's one you want for career, whether it's one you want for games, whatever it is, you have a
Wow.
ton of them, and you will
I
go there. Okay,
saw the
well,
one on LinkedIn when you're trying to do a post, it's going to
mhm,
ask you if you want to use AI. I haven't tried
yeah.
it yet, but I'm like, this AI thing is everywhere.
Try the one on WhatsApp even before that one. Just try. Just go
Wow.
in there. You say, okay, I want that guy who's doing careers, and you go in there and you ask him a few questions, and
Hmm.
he's not going to tell you everything you're supposed to do, but he's going to give you a good head start. Really,
Hmm.
very good.
So, Coach
Really, really
Maggie,
very.
so are we like agreeing that this whole generative AI thing, it's not the demons that are trying to get us?
No,
Okay. I'm
no.
asking this question because some of my friends who might be watching might just need to hear from somebody who's using it, that they shouldn't keep running away from everything AI just because it's able to bring out this knowledge. Doesn't mean it's evil. Coach Maggie, can you
It
reassure?
this is the way the world has gone. Not will be going.
Mm,
My head the language I'm using. This is the
mhm.
way the world has gone.
It has
And it's
gone.
moving at a speed that we will not be able to keep up. Right, ma'am Sharon? It is
Yeah.
moving at a
Mm,
speed,
mm.
Susie,
So,
that
so sometimes
we
Mm.
so
Sometimes when
if
I try to explain it to people who, of course, we all know Google, I'll tell people it's like Google, but it's a very, very advanced level of Google that is more personalized and that's able to know you when you use it over time. It knows the kinds of things that you do. And that's my layperson way of explaining it sometimes. Yeah, so I'm coming back to you, Ma'am Sharon. Are you able to reassure our audiences that this is not the devil trying to get them? And my question would be, what would happen to someone who just chooses to ignore this revolution that some people are calling the fourth revolution? What would happen?
Yeah, I think they would be, missing out. There's so much, when you look at AI and you look at the tools, the AI driven, not coaching tools, excuse me, that we use to enhance our teams, the performance in our teams, they
Mm-hmm,
would be missing out big time. I mean, for instance, not only in the education world, but in everywhere, right?
mm-hmm,
You've got personalized feedback. And here AI analyzes each team member, and then it produces personalized feedback on that, which can be used by leaders to make their teams better. You've got skills assessment, you've got goal setting and tracking progress. This is all done by AI. You've got performance analytics, student grades, for instance. A child can see how they're performing and do better. A teacher can see and fill in the gaps of where their weaknesses are. So analytics, predictive analytics, for instance, all
mm-hmm,
of this make it, and then also recommendation of resources, for instance, in our workplaces. When you are leaders of companies, organizations, you don't have the time. We are so time poor. We are running around doing all sorts of things, and AI helps us do it more efficiently, more faster, with greater speed. And you talked about coaching. There are automated coaching sessions through there. Yes, there is lack of emotions, but we can also look at the other side of it. Balance it, like Coach Maggie said, balance. You have a balance in your life of everything. Why can't you balance technology and non-technology, So it's important. So, and you have, this is natural language processing. We call it NLP, where it allows the AI tools to analyze written and spoken. You speak to it and it'll analyze what you're saying. And then coaches gain insight into the team dynamics, for instance, right? And then they identify the communicate. Oh, this person needs some help with, speaking in front, or presenting reports. So I need to send him to this PD, like him or her to this PD. So it helps us as coaches. So AI is very, very useful. You've got feedback analysis, for instance. It takes I mentioned that regarding team members, peers, even supervisors, as leaders as well, and they identify the common themes and areas of improvement, as I mentioned. What about time management and productivity? This is what we want in our organizations, right?
Right.
Teachers are absolutely time poor. Educators are always complaining. So these tools, the AI tools, AI-driven tools, not only generative AI, but looking at analytics and all this helps us to manage our team members, optimize time management and productivity by providing, insights, on how to allocate their time and how to improve that particular bit. You talked about, and I liked it, you talked about EI, Coach Maggie, Yes, AI, you can use AI to provide emotional intelligence support. What it does is, and this is one area we use it a lot. Well-being is the big word at the moment, in our communities, in our organizations. And what AI can do is it analyzes emotional cues, right, in communication, and assesses a team member's well-being, emotional well-being, right? So the coaches then can provide support and resources to address stress and emotional challenges that these employees or our team members are going through. Another one which is big time is conflict resolution training. AI is huge on that, right? It simulates conflict scenarios, right?
Oh,
and then leaders with opportunities to practice conflict resolution, because it's not always that we are able to, in real life, practice it. There's no practice. It's like dipping, they're diving in the deep end. Conflict comes to you, but if you have AI scenarios to play with and work with and train yourself, it's even better. It's not a human being, it's a machine. You can play with it, like you can train yourself. So it's very useful tools in organization. Then you've got feedback, and then you've got performance monitoring. Another one is cost-effective scaling. This is very, very important, because you are, organizations, companies that I work with, are all cutting costs because times are not, economically, it's hard times for people, right? Mm-hmm. And especially when you're working with organizations which are, small organizations that are just coming up, startups and things. So AI is brilliant for them. They're using it for, scaling, and they look at development programs that can be scaled, to their level and to reach a broader audience. Remotely, geographically, where leaders are dispersed around the world. I work on so many teams that are all over the world, and we're doing amazing thing working on platforms, creating platforms in the back end, and our leaders are from Israel, from Palestine, from Malaysia, Singapore, India. We as a team sit together and work, but we are using AI to provide us training, to provide us support with these kinds of things. Then you also have accessibility, which you can see. AI programs, provide us resources which are accessible. I might find something in America which is very, very, useful. And so I will use that because I can now, because of accessibility. The other one, and the last one I'll mention, is mentor matching. As a leader, as a coach, You want to match different people, that work together, could be mentor and mentee. And so what you can do is AI helps match that. So these are
Wow.
some things where you will find if people do not jump on board, they are missing these resources that are available, that are cost effective. You don't have to put millions of dollars to do this. There are so many, free resources out there that could be used. So I hope that helps. Yeah.
It's
Wow.
amazing.
Wow. This is amazing. I was just thinking about some of the tools I'm going to look for and start using myself. And maybe I'm going to reach out to you and say, hey, which one do you think I could
Yes.
use for this, situation? I'm just thinking like there is just a lot. It's like a big ocean, and
Yes.
you just bring your cup and take what you need and
Absolutely.
make your business better, make your life better.
That's amazing.
We are drawing to a
Just
close.
before you go, Susan, I just want to add this. I'm on a platform. Of course, yeah, we pay to be on that platform. But as a small business owner, here's what that platform
Yes.
does for me. Of course, we need leads for us to generate some business, whether they tell you yes or they tell you no, you need leads to do that, okay? You need to generate email campaigns, all right? So I'm on this platform where I get 10 new leads every day. I've been
Wow.
on this platform since March. I have over 30,000 leads. And of course, everybody will not jump and respond to your emails and all that. It builds all I have to do is tell it, give it a prompt, tell it what I want to, what campaign I want, 1 to 3 emails, when to send this one out, when to send the other, when to send the third, to whom you're going to send the first, the second, and the third. If you've already sent the first to that batch and I have new people coming in at that time, it recognizes that, and then it's going to start sending the first email to the new people. So I can change my email campaigns whenever I want. Just tell it what I want. It will do it for me. And of course, I go in there and I tweak it. Because it's got to sound like me and it's got to look like me sending this email. And the
Right.
other thing is, I can always go in there and change the keywords, the people I'm looking for to serve. If I'm building this campaign email and I want to serve some government employees, I'm going to go in and change my keywords. So this is just amazing, the things we can do. So that last question you had, ma'am, Sharon, saying about not telling people it's not demonic. This is what it can do for me. This is the change it's bringing for me. So I'm going to tell them, get on it.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you have to go far and deep like me. Ma'am Sharon Singh is on a different level of AI.
Oh,
That's
she
not my.
is. She
It's not my
is.
skill. I'm
She
not.
is.
I'm not such. That's not my skill. But guess what? I have embraced it and I'm using it
Absolutely.
in my business,
Yeah.
and it's working for you. You don't have to be brilliant. The same way when I
Yeah.
go out there to do team training, and I ask people to, be engaged. They're afraid to speak because they think what I'm going to say, my contribution is not enough. Yes, you are enough. You are
Yes.
enough to use AI. You are enough to take what is generating for you and make the changes and go use it. Use it.
Yes.
Play with it. Do it.
Yeah.
It's not going to harm you. It's not going to harm you.
Just
Please,
just adding on to that,
please do.
a fun fact is like at the moment generative AI is about prompts, like putting the correct prompt in, and there are lots and lots of prompt cheat sheets that are going on the internet in
Oh,
LinkedIn.
really?
Yes.
Yes, I'll send you some. They are brilliant. I tell you, they're brilliant. But what I wanted to tell you is one of the things we educators, look at is careers for our young people in the, as they go out. And one of the careers that is trending, you wouldn't believe this, Coach Maggie, is a prompt engineer, and they're making
Okay.
like $200,000 US.
Whoa.
There you go. How
I
to
probably should look for a job
create.
there.
In the States, in US, it's a
Wow.
prompt engineer with have a search. It's about $220,000 a year. It's the
Wow.
salary.
Wow.
Just
The minute
writing
ask that
prompts for
question,
companies.
Wow. Friends, listen. This is getting deeper and exciting. I was just sitting here glued to my seat and wondering what I'm going to do with this. I don't know what you intend to do with this. All right. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. Let Coach Maggie know you were here, and let Ma'am Sharon know you were here. And we've been talking about leadership. Remember, this is Leaders World Institute. The Leaders World brought to you by Leaders World Institute, where we bring leadership top notch. Okay. Cutting edge leadership insights to help you bring your life, your business, your company, your organization to the next level. And today we've been talking leading the way, coaching teams, cultivating leaders, education, artificial intelligence. It's been a whole combo. All right. We just brought this melange, and whatever you're able to take from it, it's because we really care about your success. We care about your progress. And today I'd like for Coach Maggie, you are a team trainer, you are a coach, you are a mentor, you are a leader. We've been talking leading the way, coaching teams, cultivating leaders, education, artificial intelligence. If you had some final words to give to our audiences, what would those words be at this time?
You know, the world is changing, and the world is moving at a speed that we just cannot be left behind. If you are a leader and you want to influence and impact the people that you lead, there are changes that you probably need to make with yourself. There are changes you probably need to make in your business, in your company. And the onus is on you, because at the end of the day, people are watching you. You've got to model what you want to bring to your company. You got to practice what you preach. That's what the good book says.
Right.
You have to understand how to navigate the challenges that are coming in the world. And when I talk about the challenges, I wanted to introduce AI. These are the challenges we have now. We're going to use it, or we're going to be left behind. Test the waters. Test the waters. We are at a crucial place in our life. We are at a crucial place in our leadership, because now everything almost goes hand in hand with AI. And I want you to be that leader who will bring diverse experiences to your business. And I want to say to you, you can't lead well if you are not prepared to embrace what is happening in this world. So let's keep going. Let's keep leading well. Let's become the best that we can be. Thank you very much for allowing me to be in the presence of Ma'am Sharon Singh today. I appreciate it for you introducing me to her, Susan. And I want to thank you always for giving me the opportunity to share with your listeners. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Coach Maggie. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Coach Maggie of MJ Coaching and Business Solutions LLC. I'm going to be putting her information in the chat. You can reach out to her. She's a great coach. I've worked with her, and the quality of her services are unmatched. And you can reach out to her for your coaching and training needs for your individual self and for your business. All right. Ma'am Sharon, there are people that are going to come listen to this just because they saw you on the advert. What would be your last words to our audiences?
Yes, I think, like as I mentioned before, I'm very passionate about AI, and there's another one that I'm going into another area, which Susan, you may be looking at some topics in future, and it's quantum. That's quantum computing. So that's another area. There's lots and lots of things that keep on coming.
Yes.
So I think for all of us, I want to encourage everybody to not stop learning. I think learning it has to be continuous learning. We need to reflect in ourselves. I never stop learning. And I always say to the people that I work with and or kids that are students that I educate, that I may know a little bit more than you, but if you learn something new, come and teach me. So I think it's important, and never be afraid to say that you don't know, because that gives an opportunity to bring, as leaders, we need to be in the shoes of those that we are working with, our teams. So I encourage everybody to not stop learning, and learning never stops when we finish school, you know.
Mhm.
So looking at AI, and I'm going to go back into AI, is by leveraging these AI, AI in our organizations and in our teams and team leaders, we gain invaluable insights into our teams. I find that in students, in teachers, in teams that I work with in different organizations all over the world. And it gives us insights into weaknesses and strengths in our teams. It enables us to design targeted interventions and strategies that, for improvement in our teams.
Right.
It also is important to use, and that's the other side of it. We need to be very mindful. We need to be aware that AI is used responsibly, and ensure that any insights that are generated are used to support and empower individuals and teams, rather than penalizing or stigmatizing them. We have to be very, very, it's just because we know a bit more than others doesn't mean we really go and, look down on people that don't know. So it's important for us to be very mindful of the faults. I talked about limitations, biases, and ethics, how, when to use, how to use, and how to use it correctly and legally correctly. It's very important for us to be mindful of that. So I think and then the other thing also is, don't forget, whatever you have learned, the old system is as good as it is now. Balance it with these new technology. It's like when we started, Coach Maggie said, internet came in and everybody was, fearful, and so this is something that may seem very big. It's not. It really isn't. If you sit down, practice things with it, play with it, learn a little bit, read about it, you will find that it's not really that big. But it is a very, very powerful and useful tool to make our lives more efficient and effective. So I want to encourage everybody, don't throw it away, don't discard it, don't ignore it. Try and learn a little bit. Not all of us, our minds are geared in the same way. So we learn differently, and therefore use the bits that you think can be applicable in your context, in your environment. Every environment is different, and there are different ways of using it. Tailor it to use it in yours. So all the best with it. Go play with AI and enjoy.
You want efficiency, you want productivity, you want effectiveness, and you want to go faster. Let's go.
Okay. Such a pleasure meeting Coach Maggie and having this time. Lovely to meet you, Coach Maggie, and listening to your insights. It's been brilliant. Thank you, Susan, for inviting me.
Absolutely. Let AI be an enabler, not a barrier.
And we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. Oh, don't forget to send me stars, okay? It helps us to stay on air. Send stars. They told me not to forget to tell you guys.
Leaders World Institute, changing lives